This is the Panasonic Lumix G95. This camera was released in May of 2019, but you can still buy it today for $699. The question is, should you? Is this camera still good in 2024? Let's find out. So the G95, what do I think? First of all, let me just say, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not a professional photographer. I'm not a professional videographer. My channel name is Average Enthusiast for a reason. You know, I'm just an average guy. I enjoy electronics. I enjoy learning about electronics. I go a little bit deeper than someone who just goes in and buys a camera and starts pointing and shooting, you know. So I like to learn about the electronics that I buy. But again, I'm not a professional. So you can take everything I say with a grain of salt if you want to. Some of the stuff I say might be wrong. You might disagree with it. That's fine. I'm just giving you what my opinion is and my experience with it. So I guess the first thing that I'd say is I enjoy it, honestly. I really do. I think it's a great little camera. With it being a micro 4/3 camera, it's small, it's compact, it's light. The lenses are small and light, you know, so you throw them in a bag and you go on a hike and it's not super cumbersome, which is great. When it comes to photography, I think it takes really good photos, you know, for what I want to use it for. I don't feel like I need something crazy expensive and, you know, $1,500 lenses and things like that for photography, because again, I'm not professional. I don't get paid for any of the work that I do. It's all for fun. So from a photography perspective, I really enjoy it. I think it takes really sharp photos. I feel like the colors are great. I get everything that I want out of it. I can't complain at all about the pictures that it takes. Video, on the other hand, is another story. It's not good. It is not good, particularly in 4K, 30p and 24p. The highest this camera goes is 30. It's really not good, unfortunately, because it's a great camera. If you drop down to 1080p, you want to shoot in 1080p 60, I think it looks great. You know, for this talking head stuff where the camera's stationary, I'm for the most part stationary. I move my head, you know, the auto, I'm sure, I can't see it, but I'm sure that the autofocus is losing me a little bit here and there. But for stationary stuff like this, I think it looks great. I don't have issues with it there. But if this camera's moving, or you're trying to film something that is moving, forget about it. It's terrible. It is awful. I spoke to Panasonic about this, and what I got back was that it's expected. That's just limitations of this particular camera, what it can and can't do. Let's get into the video. I'm going to start with some photos, and then, you know, we'll look at some of the videos and some of the problems that we had with that. All right, so these are just some of the photos that I took on this recent hike. We were in the Smoky Mountains, me, my wife, and my son. The first picture that shows up, that's raw, that's unedited, there's nothing done to it, and then there's a wipe with the some post-processing that I did. When I edit these photographs, some of them stay pretty true to the original. That one, for instance, it's pretty close to the original. It just brings out some more detail, but I edit photos in a way that I want to see them. You know, I feel like a lot of people get wrapped up in the right way to do things and what's proper, but at the end of the day, they're your photographs, right? You're the one that is looking at them, so you want to look at them in a way that you enjoy looking at them. So some of these are a little bit darker. Some of them are drastically different than the raw photograph. But again, I edit them in the way that I like to look at them. I think that they look good, and my taste may not be your taste, and that's fine. You know, when you take your photos, you can edit them. This is just an example of, you know, what you can expect with the camera. This is just around in the area. This is long shutter, nighttime photography with the ISO as low as possible, and you can see that it does a really good job, in my opinion. It's fairly low noise. You know, with the crop sensor, you can expect noise, particularly with long shutter and at night. And in my opinion, these photos came out pretty decent. I like them. So I think with photographs, I don't have any issue with it. I think that it takes really good photos. I'm happy with them. I'm pleased with them. So I would say when it comes to that, absolutely 100%, I would feel comfortable spending that money on this camera that comes with the kit lens, because all of those photos right there, well, most of those photos were taken with the kit lens, and I have no issues with them. But now let's talk about the video. Now let's just talk about the video. This content, this video, this type of content is gonna be fine. You're not gonna, if this is what you want the camera for, by all means, you're good to go. If you can handle with the slightly lower quality autofocus. Again, I'm sure it's losing focus on my face. But if the camera's moving at all, I mean, if it's moving at all, again, this is in 4K, 24p or 30p. If the camera's moving at all, it's terrible. If you're recording something that's moving, which is the point of video, right? I mean, otherwise it's a photograph, right? So you're recording something that's moving, it looks terrible. It just absolutely looks awful. Let's get into some of these clips, that I'm talking about here. Me, my wife, and my son, we were in the Smoky Mountains on a trail. We were hiking to a waterfall. Right now, the G95 is on a gimbal. And I mean, you can just look at it and see. I mean, the picture quality itself, like the colors and what you see, I think it does a good job of capturing them. Like this is pretty sharp, but I mean, there's just no, you can't cover for the judder. Look at this tree. I mean, this is a prime example. This is exactly what happens anytime the camera is moving at all. Some of the pans that I do are a little fast. I'm still trying to get used to the gimbal. But even on very, very slow pans, even when the camera's barely moving, you can see that what that tree was doing, what they were calling, what Panasonic calls judder, the video jumping around here. So we hiked for what was supposed to be a 3-mile round trip hike, actually turned out to be about a 7.5 mile round trip hike because we parked at the wrong trailhead. But we finally made it up to the waterfall, and I was super happy to get up there. I saved my gimbal battery all day because I wanted to get some really nice shots. And unfortunately, as you're gonna see here, once I slow it down, like I know that was a fast pan and the leaves were crazy, but look right here. I mean, this is a very slow pan, and look at that rock. This is zoomed in, but that rock is jumping all over the place, and the camera's barely moving. If it moves at all, you're gonna see that all over the place. It's extremely frustrating. Obviously, once I got home and I put the memory card in the computer and I looked at the videos, I was extremely frustrated. I was extremely disappointed because I was really hoping to get some really good looking video. Again, and it's not for any commercial purposes or any, my son almost fell. It's not for any commercial purposes or anything like that, but when you spend your money and you buy equipment, you expect it to perform, and you want it to perform well, and unfortunately this just doesn't. Again, in 4K and in 1080p, it's fine. But I didn't buy this camera for 1080p video. I could have bought a much cheaper camera for 1080p video. I bought this camera because I wanted to be able to take good photographs, which I think that it does, and I wanted to be able to record, some video in 4K, and unfortunately, I'm just not able to do that. Watch again. It's a very slow pan, and it's borderline nauseating. If you look at this for too long, I really genuinely feel like you could get sick because it has that much judder or shake or whatever you want to call it. But like I said, I opened a ticket with Panasonic, and what they told me was that this was expected. This is what this camera is going to do. They asked me to send them some sample videos, which I did, and they looked at it, and again, they said, nope, that's just what this camera's going to do when you try to record in 4K. Personally, I feel like there's got to be something wrong with it. Again, I had a G7, which is older technology, and I didn't have these problems at all. And that was recording in 4K. And I did not have these problems at all. So I think that I might go ahead and send it into Panasonic. The technician was a great guy, really nice guy, great guy. But he told me that his honest opinion is that if I send it in, they're going to put it on the bench and they're going to say, nope, it's working perfectly, and they're just going to send it back. So I told him, all right, well, let's not worry about it. But after watching this video back a couple weeks removed, I really think I'm going to have to. This is a prime example. Look at this rock. Again, this is zoomed in, and the camera is not on a tripod. It's not on a gimbal. This is handheld. I understand that. But the camera is not moving that much, and that rock is stationary, and it's jumping all over the place. Look at this slate rock, that one right there. A little bit blurry, but the same thing. This camera's, at this point, it's sitting on a rock, not even moving, and it's still doing that. Here we have it again. This is handheld. Look at this rock. Very little camera movement at all. and the rock is just bouncing and jumping all over the place. It doesn't make any sense to me. These are a couple of shots about the only usable footage that I could find out of about 3 hours. Boils down to not only these 3 shots, but maybe 2 minutes total worth of footage that I would say that I could actually use that came out okay. So once we got back, after a couple of days after talking to Panasonic, I took my camera out to a greenway here in my area, and I wanted to see what it would do if it was actually on a tripod. So now the camera's on a tripod, recording at 4K. This one is at 30p, and I'm doing as slow a pan as I can. It's not a perfectly smooth pan because it's not a tripod with a video head made for panning. But I'm trying to go as smooth and look at that. I mean, it is just bounced like so choppy, and that's an incredibly slow pan. So now I switched it over. I did basically the same exact shot, the same exact pan. The camera's in the same exact spot on the tripod. All of the settings are exactly the same. The only difference is I switched it down to 24p. And this, believe it or not, even at 24p, looks a little bit better than at the one that was at 30p. But it's still, I mean, you can't use this. If you don't move the camera, if the camera's just sitting there on a shot like this, it would have been okay. But now we're gonna get into some shots where the camera's just sitting there. Here I am, look at these rails. Look at how much they're moving, right? And this is just me. This is a very sturdy bridge. It's not like I'm shaking the camera when I'm walking, but the same thing. It's just these rails, they're just bouncing and they're not moving. The camera's not moving. What is going on? I mean, really, what is going on? Here, I got a couple of videos. Excuse me trying to be artistic, in my mind. This looked a lot better than it came out. But look at the trucks as they get closer to where the camera is and how shaky they start getting. It seems like the further away these vehicles are, the better they look. But the closer that they get all choppy. See, that SUV's really choppy, but then as it gets further away, it smooths itself out. And you're gonna see that, on another shot that I did from a different angle when I'm not on the bridge anymore. But this is a really good example. This person's riding his bicycle, minding his own business, and so I turn the camera on and watch what happens as he gets closer. Pay attention to his yellow vest. I mean, you can't use this for anything. If you're trying to do anything professional, forget about it. This for me, this is not even good enough for home video stuff, But this is the last clip right here that I took. You can see the Penske truck. As it's far away, it looks okay, but this gray truck comes in and it's choppy. And as the Penske truck gets closer, it's gonna start getting choppy. But then as the gray truck, now it looks perfectly fine. The further away it is, it looks perfectly fine. So I really don't understand what's going on with the camera. I honestly feel like it might be broken. So I might go ahead and turn around and send it into Panasonic, even though he's confident that it's not broken. I think I might go ahead and send it in anyway. If I do that, I'll be sure to post a comment on the video and let you guys know. If it comes back and it's fixed, I'll let you know. If it comes back and it's broken, I'll also let you know that. But I guess my overall feelings on this camera is I cannot say that I would recommend buying this camera in 2024. Just simply because of the 4K video performance. I tried everything that I possibly could, all of the different settings, all of the different built-in stabilization, every different setting you can think of. I was outside for 3 hours, toggling different settings on and off, trying to figure out, is there a combination of the inbuilt image stabilization that would make it work? And just nothing, absolutely nothing. Nothing I did would work. Image stabilization completely off. That was awful. Even worse than what we saw. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I really do like the camera. I think I'm going to go ahead and look at maybe getting the GH5 Mark II. That camera can record 4K up to 60 frames per second, and it's gotten some pretty decent reviews. So yeah, I guess that's my review. If you want a camera to take pictures, I think it does a great job. If you want a camera to record in 1080p, I think it does a great job. I feel like the kit lens that is included with it is sharp enough, for what I want it to do. But again, I did not buy this camera just to take pictures or record at 1080p. I wanted to record it 4K, and you just can't do it. So thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time. Later.